England, and 243 of them are in London. So if you think about it, for the rest of it, so for the rest of the UK, we've only got over 230 or 240 people who are homeless. I can give you 30 or 40 homeless people in Leeds City Centre. I mean, I've also been to a hostel which Toddy can vouch for me for the other day, and it was called Bracken Court, and we had 37 people in there that night. So in just about 67 people, and there's another 17 hostels all around Leeds City Centre.
On Sunday they had 50 odd, didn't they?
Yes, it's 37.
I thought they had 50 odd.
No, oh yeah, sorry, they did. They had 37 and we had another 12 in shared accommodation, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yes, so they did. They just had short of 50. So, but these people don't get classed as homeless. So when these people have a medical condition and they're going to hospital, I don't know whether you know, but the NHS charge for councils if they discharge a homeless person who doesn't have a home. So it's all a money-making scheme again. And I don't know whether you probably don't know, but
it's just a
so
vicious
So say like last night, we put Bubbles in there, and luckily Bubbles has got a home. But if Bubbles didn't have a home and he was taken straight out of the hospital on discharge, the hospital would charge the councils hundreds of pounds for that person not having a home. So there you go, it's a cycle again. And what I'm trying to put into place is, hold on, if these guys can give hundreds and hundreds of pounds to the council, the council can give hundreds and hundreds of pounds to the NHS, why can't that hundreds and hundreds of pounds secure a night in a B&B or secure a bond? Because it's hundreds. 2 nights, this guy could secure a bond in a property and we could give him the support and help, but what they're not liking is that we give him the support and the help for free, and that's what it's all about.
Because they can't earn any money off their services, because our services are for free, and that's where all the money's being generated, through service in this country. Raven, you had your hand up again.
How can you verify?
Come to Leeds Town Centre tomorrow. Come out with us on an outreach, and you'll see the genuine people that are homeless. We know where they all are pretty much.
Yeah.
But
how we found out was you know, we set up a kitchen, but before we set up a kitchen, we started going on outreach. Instead of going on outreach at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and finding the professional beggars who were in town, finding the people who were out on the night out, we started going out at 11 o'clock, half 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and we're finding people who have got the cardboard, you know, finding in bins, digging in bins, and they're dubbing down for the night. And what we did was, and what I say is you can't judge a book by a cover, but let's put it this way, if you start looking at people's hands, and this is the truth, you start looking at people's hands and you can see how much mud is embedded in their hands. It doesn't matter how much they wash their hands, you can see how much mud is embedded in their hands. You know if you come across a homeless person or not a homeless person, and you know that. You know, you can tell the difference between homeless and hostel-based. And let's put it this way, I don't need to go across and go, listen, you need to find me a means of showing me that you're homeless. Do you know why? Because I've got the trust on the street that the police and the other organisations don't have. These guys tell me what drugs they're using, they tell me what alcohol they're on, they tell me that they're just been for the fix straight away. Like last night when I took someone into hospital, you know, he told me that he'd just been half an hour ago to get his fix. But if he didn't get his fix, he wouldn't have gone to hospital because he'd have had to wait 6 hours in pain, and I can understand that. But because he's been dropped so many times and fallen through the cracks, you know, this is where we're going and picking them up. But, like I said, you can't judge a book by its cover, can you? But these guys, and I'm not getting a big head over it, but I have got the trust on the street what these guys need. I can walk down the street, and what the police are starting to realise is that I've got engagement with these guys. If I want to sit down and talk to them, I started this off where I'd sit on the street, I wouldn't just go give them a cup of tea, I wouldn't just give them food, I'd sit there with a notebook and pen, like Joe's been doing, and Joe can vouch for me for this. I sent her a message the other day saying, Joe, do you know what, you did exactly what I did when I first started. It's not about going out there, giving them a sandwich, giving them a cup of tea, it's about sitting down with them, sitting there and talking about the problems, writing the problems down. And we're not going to tell you it straight away, but it's going to take 2 or 3 times. And let's put it this way, you know, these people are not, homeless people are not clean, but when you're putting your hand out and shaking their hand, yeah, they know, that's a sign of respect because, you know, they know that they're not clean. Second of all, when the homeless people are out there, I sit down on the floor with them, and even if I'm in brand new gear, I don't care how much it costs me, I'll sit down with them, and what they say to me afterwards is, why have you just sat down with me? Because, you know, I've got respect for you, you're a human being, you know, you're just like me, but when they start seeing you getting your personal things dirty, you know, you're sitting down on their level with them, they'll start engaging with you. When you've got 2 police officers in front of you, who's going to engage with 2 police officers who are right in your face telling you to get out of the town centre? You're not going to at all, are you? So moving on to that is, I'm trying to build a platform at the moment, and Toddy can vouch for this, you know, we've had this in, not production for a couple of months now, but I've produced these cards. From there, what we're going to do is, there's a lot of research that's going into it because there's a lot of organisations out there, but you go there and you have to pay for your meals and that, like the Crypt. You have to pay £1 for a meal every day.
Yeah, the Crypt actually get all their food given for free, and then they're charging the people that are stopping under their
So if you've got 100 people coming in a day, and it's £1 a meal, you've got 3 meals a day, that's £300 a day. Work it out over 7 days a week, that's how much income they're taking off free food donations. And this is what we're not seeing. They told me when I first started from January to March, I lost them 7% in revenue. So if that's 7% in revenue over 1.9 million, you know, I've lost them quite a lot of bit of revenue. This is why they didn't want to work with me. This is why they was thinking, listen, let's get rid of him. But because I stood my ground and I started exposing everybody, and this is what they know now. If people don't play to my rules, I will start exposing them, and we know we will, won't we?
I don't think it's about. I don't think it's about the rules. I think what it is at the end of the day is you can clearly see from Hayden and the way that he stands. He wants to just look after people, and there's the people out there like the Crypt and everybody else. It's a money-making scheme, and they're looking at these people as soon as they walk through the door, it's money, money, money. They can't cope with this. They can't cope with what Hayden's doing, giving things away for free. They're obviously not coping with what Real Change are doing the same principle.
They don't like it now Real Change have come on board because they've seen, hold on, I was a lone ranger by myself with 4 other people. You know, there's me, Dawn, Matt, Philip and Lisa. And then when we've gone in partnership, you know, we've got about 40 volunteers, week on, week off. But then obviously when we jumped on board with Real Change, they started to get even worried. Because obviously, let's put it this way, we went into a meeting with Brett, we didn't even know who Brett was, but we'd done research on him. They'd done what he'd been posting. You know, I went to a meeting with Leeds Bid. My last name on Facebook is Hayden Pat. Pat stands for Pat Testing, that's what I do. I've got a business doing Pat Testing. I walked into a meeting with Leeds Bid and I turned and went, Mr. Jessup, I take it your last name is. These guys have been doing research before I even got with them because these guys want to know who I am, what I'm doing, and at the end of the day, they know that they're not going to stop us, and they're not going to stop us having a toddy. And when they came down and they tried charging us £850, remember I've been doing it since January. So if I've been doing it every week since January, look how much money they could be claiming off me. But because we haven't registered, and when we do register, what we'll do is we'll register it, and we'll have it as a doorman company. So we'll register a CIO or a CIC, and we'll have it as a doorman company. From there, all that equipment that's gone to Leeds Owners Partnership is from that company. So it's all hired down there.
Yeah.
So everything's hired to
If
us.
you've got to enter the system that way, then at the end of the day, that's the best way of doing it, because
So nothing goes through there.
They can rent it to whoever they want to rent it to. Exactly. It's all about shadow companies, isn't it, and all that type of stuff.
And to make progress, you know, we're getting in with some big organisations, and these organisations won't work with us until we're registered, and I keep saying to them, no, we're not going to become registered, we're not going to become registered. So this is why they're taking my ideas out of the water and trying to put them into production themselves.
Yeah.
But then I've got people like, obviously, Del, who are going to take me through it, and make sure that we obviously, they ain't going to take our ideas, and if we want to put into production, like I said, you can change the cards from Leeds Homeless Partnership and put it as homeless ID cards, you know, but this is my idea, and, you know, like I said, it's not gone from me. We sat down, we brainstormed it, there's me, there's Toddy, there's Brett, you know, there's my group, you know, there's 15 of us who could go and say, listen, this is all our ideas, you
intellectual property.
And it's intellectual
property. What this is, what they've done by basically denying Hayden the opportunity, they then stole his idea and then offered it to somebody else, which I think, you know, this is what, again, the money's backing it. We haven't got any money.
But what these guys don't understand is that when I go to meetings now I only found this out 3 weeks ago. I've got recorded minutes, and I didn't know what recorded minutes means. So basically, when I go into a meeting, I take everything down what they said to me. I take everything back down what I said to them. I put it into an email, and I send it across to them. Within the last week, I've had no reply saying, listen, you were going to bring me in with the ID cards, you were going to take my initiative and you were going to put it into production. And I've had nothing back, but every time I go into a meeting now, I've got a mentor who's telling me, listen, you need to take everything down and you need to go back to him. So on Tuesday when I go to him, I'm going to hand him a piece of paper with all the minutes that we've had from the previous weeks and go, listen, you've told me you were going to bring me on this. You've told me that my idea card was absolutely brilliant. And then I'm going to make them sign it. So in 6 months' time, when they do start producing my cards, I've got a confirmation and a sign. But if not, I know I've got a witness, Brett, who came with me, to say that, hold on, I've actually given this, I've actually said that, and you've told me that you will work with me. And to be fair, they did say they were going to work with me, they were going to do this with me, they were going to do that with me, and they've not done nothing with me. They're not holding to the arrangements that we're saying. And what they've done is, I was part of another group to start off with, but because they were spending funds in different ways, we moved on and went to a different, obviously started our own group. they know this group is weak, don't they?
Yeah.
So we've gone to them, and now if you want a sleeping bag, so say you go down on a Wednesday night and you're homeless, you need a sleeping bag, which obviously, like we said, Carl has a sleeping bag every 2 days because he bleeds, so he needs a new sleeping bag. These guys do need them. You have to wait a week for a sleeping bag. And that's because the Crypt have now got into their policy, haven't they?
Yeah.
And because the Crypt have got into their policy, you've got to start doing all your referral. And if the Crypt haven't got that, you're homeless on the system. So if you're a new homeless, you ain't getting no sleeping bag at all because the Crypt haven't noted that you're homeless. And that's why it is in Leeds City Centre, if you're not part of the Crypt or Leeds City Council, you're not classed as homeless. So the Crypt made a big mistake to me and Brett. They turned around to us and first of all they said there was room in the market for us. I don't want to be rooming their market because at the end of the day it's not all about money. We're doing it to make sure that these homeless people make sure that they get a good life out of it. Yeah. And then they also said that Brett, what did they say to us in the Crypt meeting? He had to think about what he was going to say, didn't he? And he turned around to me and you and he goes, I better think about what we're going to say before I get myself into trouble. Did he or did he not? Because of how much pressure we was putting onto him in that meeting and how many facts that we had, they wasn't ready for us. No. And then he turned around to me and went, I bet you've got all the paperwork at home, haven't you? I've got every single public figure that you can think of, and every single wage budget, and every little bit of money that's gone into activities and destitution from St George's Crypt. And right now, what they don't like is that I'm exposing them. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to move on to a platform. Yeah. And from the one at the back, this is what we're trying to do. So what we've got into production at the moment is that we've got a map, and on that map what we're going to do is we're going to get all the organisations that are non-profit, and I mean by non-profit I don't mean fat wages, that's what non-profit is in a lot of people's cases. Instead of giving them a 30 grand a year profit, what they do is they give them big fat wages and they can say it's a non-profitable organisation because these guys have all got it on wage budgets. So what we're going to do is we're going to get people like Harmony Cafes, Harmony Junction Cafes, all the Pagerfield Cafes onto a map, all the food banks onto a map, and we've got lanyards with the cards in and we're going to add it into the lanyard, obviously into the lanyard. So these people have got a Monday to Sunday map of where they can eat for free, where they can go for free, and what amenities that they can use. From there, we're trying to build a database at the moment. This database is hopefully what we're trying to do is, so then I could be out in the town centre, I could need a telephone number for an organisation, I could need to know someone's date of birth very quickly, and obviously it's a portfolio that I've built up. So what we're going to do is then I could ring Paul and say, Paul, do us a favour, log onto that portal, log onto that platform and just do us a favour. And what I'm doing is I'm starting to build every organisation, and I know it sounds bad, but I've even got St George's Crypt on there. I've even got St Anne's, because these are profitable organisations, but at the end of the day, these are the only organisations that are in Leeds City Centre that can get the help right now for the homeless. So we've put them onto a platform, we're going to start building a database, so then anyone, anywhere, and hopefully it's going to link to Blackpool. Like he said, that Paul is in Blackpool, she was part of my team beforehand, now she's taken over Real Change, and she's hopefully going to take Real Change to where they need to be in Blackpool. And hopefully what it's going to be is, we're going to get a phone, we're going to get a free phone number, so if a homeless person needs to ring it, they can ring any of us. So obviously I could man the phone, you could man the phone. They need a shoulder to talk to, or they need a shoulder to cry on. We're on the other end of that phone. Simple. If they need any information, so they need a contact number, they need a hostel number, they need any emergency contact number, they need rehabilitations, it's all going to be on one portal. So then he can log into it, I can, Brett can log into it, you guys can log into it if you need to. From there, I've started to build portfolios on every single homeless person in Leeds City Centre. So I'm taking the national insurance number, but this is only so that I can refer him into hostels. And like I say to him, if you don't want to be referred into drug programmes or hostels, I won't take your national insurance number. But how many national insurance numbers have we got, Joe?
We've got everyone's trusting us because we've
got the trust behind us.
Interests at heart.
And we could refer him everywhere. So I've got in contact with the local hostel, Bracken Court, and what they said to me is if they've had bad experiences, so what we're doing now is on a Monday night or a Sunday night, we're taking down everywhere that they've been in the past. So say that they've been in Bracken Court, they've been in Holford Court, they've been in Ladybeck. If they've been in there and they've had past experiences, I've got that enough trust that will tell me. So then I don't refer them to these three places. So instead of it taking 2 weeks for that, 2 weeks for that, 2 weeks for that, and we get referred and we get declined from everywhere, I know not to go to these three places, and I'll go straight to a hostel that I know that I've not been to, so it's only going to be a 2-week referral for them. So making portfolios for them is a sign that we've got a lot of trust into it. First of all, they didn't want us to start making portfolios for them, But like I said to the Cripsies, we won't put a picture on the card for the simple fact is if we put a picture on it, they think that, like in London, they're starting to sell homeless people pictures at the moment. So what we're doing is, we've got our own book, we're going to take a picture of the electronic signature that we get,